This episode is brought to you by Lumina Growth Lab. At Lumina, we help professional learning and development companies who are struggling with predictable lead flow, breaking out beyond their network, and a sniper approach to attracting the ideal clients so they can have a smoother sales process, finally have scalability, and ultimately take their business to the next level. Most of the time, our clients come to us frustrated because business has fundamentally changed since the pandemic and now the disruption of AI. But with the right strategy and support, they're able to confidently add new channels of lead generation, leading to a packed pipeline that creates sustainable revenue and year-over-year growth for cheaper than ever before because of the use of AI technologies. If that sounds like you or someone you know, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about unlocking your business's potential. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Marketing Matrix. I'm your host, Lisanne Murphy, and today I am joined by the incredible and talented Nikki Rausch. Nikki, thank you so much for coming onto the show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Guys, I have been really excited for this one. I met Nikki recently, and she knows her stuff, and she is incredibly confident, and she helps so many people. And what I love is that she's brilliant, but she also has such a giving heart. She really, 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 really wants to help the businesses that she's working with. And I know that her message today is specifically for this audience. So I'm really excited to dive in. So before I hand over the mic and you guys get to hear her brilliance for yourself, let me take a moment to introduce her a little bit more formally. So Nikki is the CEO of Sales Maven, and Nikki has the unique ability to transform the misunderstood process of selling. And I love in this guy, she has selling in quotes, right? Because I think a lot of times when you hear the word selling, people have so many preconceived notions of what that exactly means. And she's going to break it down for us. With 25 years of selling experience, more than 25 years of selling experience, entrepreneurs and small business owners now hire Nikki to show them how to sell successfully and authentically. Nikki has written 3 books, all available on Amazon, and she has a podcast called Sales Maven, which you can find on your favorite podcast platform. All right, guys. So she knows her stuff. She's producing podcasts. She's writing books. She's helping clients all over the place. I mean, give it up wherever you guys are at. Welcome Nikki to the show. So Nikki, thanks so much for coming on to the Marketing Matrix today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, for people that don't know your background, how did sales become your thing? Give us a little bit of a backstory here. I mean, you chose some powerful poison to position yourself with.
All right. Well, how it became my thing was from a college project, honestly. I had a college project. This was back in the late 1900s, so it's been a while, where we had to go into a company and learn about the company and all the different departments, the way it functioned, and come back and give a presentation on it. And it turned out that the company that we went in and investigated was this tech company locally where I was living at the time. I actually spoke as part of my presentation. I had a partner in this group, class thing. And I spoke about their hiring practices. So I had actually cut out from the newspaper, because that's how people used to apply for jobs, cut out an ad that they had hiring salespeople. And one of my fellow students at the end of my presentation came up and said, "Hey, can I take that ad? I'm going to apply." And he did, and he got hired. And then somebody else in the class applied and they hired him. And the second guy, he used to cheat off me all the time in class. And I was like, if they'll hire those 2 dudes, they might hire me. And it turned out they did. And my sales career kind of took off from there. I ended up, after years working there, became their national sales manager, eventually moved to the manufacturer side in the technology space. And when I was in that position, I was traveling all the time. I was a true road warrior. This is how you know. My airline used to send me Christmas gifts. That's how much I traveled. Think about how much you have to travel for your airline to even pay attention to you. And I started studying neuro-linguistic programming at that time with the idea that it would increase my ability to communicate better. And it certainly did. And it really upped my sales game. And if neuro-linguistic programming is a new term to anybody listening, it's really the study of communication. It has to do with the way that you communicate, the words that you choose, the way other people communicate with you, how to adjust your style to put people at ease. There's so much more to it. And kind of through that journey, I just got to a place in my career where I was having a lot of success. I was a top producing rep in North America for one of the companies I worked for. And I also was starting to go like, okay, is this it? When you get into an industry and you start to feel like, I feel like I know all my competitors. I know all the clients in the field. And it just felt like it felt limiting. And I got curious about that particular kind of feeling because I was making really good money. I was very well known. And I just thought there should be something else out there for me. I wasn't totally satisfied with what I was doing. And one of the companies I worked for had pretty much said like I had reached the top of what I could do at the company because I was a woman and they weren't willing to put a woman in a management position. So all these things led to me like getting interested to go like, well, what else is out there for me? And I really stumbled into Sales Maven because I left the industry. I started helping somebody grow their business. And that's when I started hanging around with entrepreneurs. It was the first time, and women entrepreneurs in particular, because I came from tech, so very male dominated industry. And it turned out that women start businesses. And I just wanted to be around these super cool, inspiring women entrepreneurs. And by doing that, I found that a lot of these really cool women that were really passionate about what they were doing didn't really understand the selling process.
So Nikki, this is like such a fascinating story. I love how you just kind of like, it seems to me like you like followed, it was like this mixture of like following breadcrumbs as well as your intuition, right? It's like, like you took the ad, you saw some classmates apply, you went and applied. And my first question for you is like, did those two fellow classmates, did they stay at the company as long as you did?
I think they stayed, both of them ended up going to sister companies for the company that I worked for. And then when I moved to the manufacturer side, both of them stayed in the industry actually longer than I did.
Really? Okay. So you all became sales people.
Yeah, we were all in sales. And I think one of them now is selling real estate. And the other one, I haven't heard from him in a while. I haven't checked out to see what he was doing. But last I heard, he was still in the industry.
That is seriously so fascinating.
Yeah.
So, and what was there a specific moment where, I mean, the confidence to leave corporate and do your own thing, like that is tough. I remember that for myself. Like it was, I mean, tough is like, it's a little silly word, right? But like, I mean, I was like having like an existential like freak out, and it was from everything from like, can I do this, to like, how am I going to pay for my own insurance, to
Mhm.
are people going to value what I have to say? Or like, now I'm accountable for my own mistakes. Like, I mean, there's just and not that like you're never accountable for your own mistakes in corporate, but like you could slide for a lot and like still get paid, right? I mean, I guess in sales, you're probably way more results and performance driven than probably most corporate careers. But like, what was like the thing that like the tipping point that made you be like, I can do this. Like I can leave and do my own thing.
Okay, well, just to be really candid, I had some savings and I had a partner that was supporting me that was saying like, do this, we'll be fine. Like we'll make it through. And so there was that, but also just I think in sales, especially when you're kind of in the type of sales that I was where, primarily I was commission based. So you start to understand like this all relies on me anyway. And so it's about my efforts. And I know if I put in the effort, I can make money. And I also know there was this I can always fall back on getting a sales position, especially early on. I mean, again, I started my actual business, Sales Maven, in 2013, but I was so well known in my industry that for years I still was getting like inquiries, people reaching out saying like, will you come sell for us? So I also knew that like I could always go back and get what I always called a real job if I needed to. And I also have this mentality of like, I could go sell at the mall. Like I could sell anything at the mall where there's a commission and I could probably make the money I need. Like not the same kind of money I was making, but like I could support us if I needed to.
Yeah. That's such a powerful realization. Like you've built a skill set that can be applied in so many different areas and like can bring success. Like whether it's at a major corporation traveling the world or it's at a department store, you're like, I can sell. Like it's such a powerful, powerful skill set to have. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about, like you mentioned this, that like the women entrepreneurs that you were connecting with, they were just having a hard time selling or having success. As you leaned into that and discovered what was going on. Like, what did you find? Like, why were these women entrepreneurs you were networking with having a difficult time?
It really was because they didn't understand like sales skills because you can get really good at your craft, you can get really good at a particular area, but sales isn't something that very many people teach. It's not something you learn in school. You don't see a lot of sales classes out there. And a lot of people think like you either have it naturally or you don't. And that is not true. It's a skill set and it can be learned just like anything else. Like people learn to play the guitar, they learn how to, you know, hit a baseball. Like all these things can be learned skills. Doesn't mean you'll be the best at it or that you've got natural ability, but sometimes effort trumps natural ability. And the thing is the same with sales. And so these women that I was just wanting to be around because I was so inspired by their passion for what they were doing, I really just started helping some of them just kind of to spend time with them. I wasn't thinking about my business like or anything at that time because I was still working for somebody helping to grow her business. And finally one of them who was having a lot of success using the things I was offering to her pulled me aside and said, "Why don't you do this? Like, why don't you teach people these skills that you have?" And I actually said to her, "That seems dumb. I don't think people will pay for this." And she's like, "Nikki, I think people will pay for it." And at the time I was actually interviewing to go back into a different sales industry, but still a pretty high profile sales position. And I thought, well, if I don't get that job, then I told her, if I don't get this job, then maybe I'll consider starting a business. And I was so confident that I would get the job because I have a little bit of the like, why wouldn't they hire me? Like, I'm really good at what I do. And they didn't hire me. They picked someone else. We got down to like the final 3 candidates and they picked someone else. And then I thought, well, okay, maybe I'll give this entrepreneurship a try and see what happens. And yeah, so Sales Maven was born from me really wanting to hang around entrepreneurs and me feeling like maybe I have something to offer and that people would benefit from. And turns out it's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my career to get to teach people who are not traditional salespeople, people who don't think of themselves as having selling skills, teach them how to have a successful sales conversation in a really genuine way that doesn't feel icky or pushy or gross.
I love that so much. So it seems like, do you feel like you undervalued your own skills? Like, is that what was going on?
Always, yes.
Interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, again, like I feel like there's always these two sides of me because there's a real sense of confidence. Like I know that I can do things and I know I'm good at sales and I know I'm a good, learner and all of those things. But I think once something starts to feel somewhat like second nature or easy, I think many of us, and this was me for sure, don't really see the value in it anymore. It's like, well, it seems so
Mm,
easy, but we forget that it might be easy for me, but it doesn't mean that it's easy for everyone else. And
mm.
therefore, there is value behind it if you can teach it to other people, which
I
is
love
something
that.
I also am good at is teaching.
Yeah, I love that so much. Okay, so did the focus on NLP happen with Sales Maven, or was that part of like your own career development when you were in more traditional sales roles?
It was in my more traditional sales roles. I didn't really work for companies that ever promoted like professional development. So they like people thought I was crazy that I used to invest this kind of money in myself. And when I was studying NLP, I used to have to get on a plane 1 weekend a month and I would go spend the weekend, all day Saturday and Sunday in these NLP classes. And I did that for 2 years. And my company never paid for it. They never like supported it. And they just like all my colleagues thought I was crazy. Like, why would you spend your own money to learn something? But gosh, it was such a great investment in myself. And it's led me to now have a skill set that I can easily teach to others that they find huge value in and it makes an impact, right? So it was a
Mm,
good investment.
I love that. So can talk to me a little bit about like your philosophy on investing in yourself, because I think that's like a very, very common mindset of like why would I spend money to invest in myself? I think that is so common, whether it's in people in traditional roles in corporations or even entrepreneurship, it's tough for people to feel the need to invest in themselves. Like, like, why should people invest in themselves? What's your take on that?
Well, I just feel like it's one of those things, like, of all the things that you can invest in, whether it be the stock market, whether it be, collectibles, whether it be, bags or shoes or whatever that thing is for you, like, investing in yourself is something that will pay dividends in ways that you just don't even anticipate. You can buy an asset and hope that it's going to grow and that you can turn around and resell it and make some money on it. But the thing about investing in yourself is oftentimes there's all these other things that happen. You form relationships with other people who are investing in themselves. And the thing about relationships are that's what opens most doors, right? Like most of my best clients have come because somebody knew me and said, you should talk to Nikki. Or, speaking opportunities come because people are like, I've heard her speak. You should absolutely have her at your conference. And it's like, you meet these people and you learn things, but also I think it propels you to other things too. So you might think, like even my study in neuro-linguistic programming, it originally started because a really good friend and mentor asked me if I wanted to go spend the week with her in the redwood forest in California. And I said, well, yeah, like spending a week with your mentor felt like such a privilege. And I had some time I could use and take it off. And then she said, oh, by the way, we're going to take a storytelling class while we're there. And I was like, okay. And that turned out that the storytelling class was taught by who became my NLP teacher. And again, like storytelling is very much a part of things that I now bring in from a skill set. And we were talking about learning how to tell fables and parables and, and it was super fun around the campfire and it was this really cool experience. And now storytelling is very much a part of things that I teach in selling.
Interesting. I love this. Okay. So one more question on this vein. What I think a trap that a lot of entrepreneurs get into is that they feel like they have to learn everything.
Mm.
Or what's do you mostly work with companies that are founder-led sales, or and at what point, how should people choose what to invest in themselves in? And specifically, like in your vein with selling, what is your opinion on, and I know this is like two totally different thoughts, but this is kind of where my mind's going.
That's okay.
Founder-led sales versus like hiring a sales team.
Yeah. So I traditionally work with people who are doing the selling. And so sometimes that is the founder. Often it's the founder. And yes, I get hired to teach sales teams too. And a few of my founders who have grown their business to the place where they now have a sales team now put their salespeople through my trainings and, have them participate in the things that I teach. So the answer is yes to both. But this idea about selling, or I think back to your question of like, what do you decide to invest in? For me, it's like, what is going to move the needle? Like, one, is it interesting to me? Because there are things that I will invest, like I will pay people to do things that I have no interest in learning myself. But then the things where I'm like, it would probably be helpful if I knew how to do that, then I will pay to learn those things. But it's always like, what's that thing that's kind of getting in your way right now? And for many of the people that I work with, the thing that's getting in their way is they might be doing a really good job on their marketing, and marketing and sales are not the same thing. Like that, I feel really passionate about this particular topic. Like marketing's job is to bring leads in the door. And if you have leads coming in the door, your marketing is working. Congratulations. Absolutely fantastic. But if you can't take that lead and convert it to a buyer, that's a sales problem. That's not a marketing problem. So that's the place where often, like if your marketing is working, you've got leads or you've got opportunities and you feel like those opportunities aren't closing, people are ghosting me, people aren't showing any interest when they do come in, whether it's on your email list or whether you're speaking at an event or you're out networking and nobody's really showing interest in what it is that you're offering, that's a sales problem. And so when you fix that, the thing about in business is that when there's revenue coming into the business, it opens the door for you to do so many other things. And so if you're not selling, you have a very expensive hobby. You do not have a business. And so, Like, is sales crucial to your success? 100%. And if you're not doing it, then you better be paying somebody to do it. But most founder-led businesses, small businesses, they try to get like, oh, well, maybe my assistant can sell for me. But oftentimes somebody who's an assistant, they don't want that responsibility of selling. And if you want to pay a professional salesperson, you're looking at a six-figure, like, can you afford a six-figure salary out of your, profit? And then you can have a professional sales rep do it for you, or you can learn how to do it yourself and keep that profit.
I love that. Seriously, I'm gonna get a tattoo of what you just said in terms of like, if you aren't generating money from your business, like you have a very expensive hobby, right? Man, that's so good. So good. And I love this concept of the importance of investing in the skill that one, you're interested in, and two, that is going to move the needle for you. Such good principles. Love that so much. Okay, so let's talk about Sales Maven, your business. Like how is it structured? Or is it mostly group coaching, courses, one-to-one coaching? I know that, like you mentioned, that once the founder has often gone through your program and they're growing, they'll put their salespeople through. Like how is Sales Maven structured?
So I primarily have like 3 arms of the business. So I do private one-on-one coaching with people. I have a group coaching program. It's called the Sales Maven Society. And in there, the members get access to me in live calls where they can come and ask their sales questions and get feedback. And I have a very robust training center with a myriad of training content around sales that they get access to. So they can go through at their own, on their own, and then come and ask questions. They can post questions in the group. And then the third kind of arm is training, where organizations hire me to come in and actually do some training, on skill set. So those are kind of the 3 main ways. But the thing that I love is I love working with my clients one-on-one and really seeing momentum grow in like whatever their goal is around their skill set, whether it's, growing their existing client base and, increasing lifetime value of their existing clients, or if it's somebody who's like, I've got some biz development and opportunities and I want to make the most of them, or, anything in between there. And then with the group program, I love my group. It's created this amazing culture of like-minded business professionals that are like, I'm serious about my business and I want to make sure that what I'm doing counts. I don't want to just waste my time and spin my wheels. So, those are people that they're like, I'm committed to investing in my success. And I love being around people who are committed to their own success.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What percentage of the revenue that comes into your business is in each of those arms? Like, do you have one that's like super heavy and kind of funds the others because they're more passion driven for you, or like is it pretty evenly distributed?
So those three like areas make up about 80% of the revenue that comes into my business. But realistically, the private coaching and the group coaching program, they usually are kind of in the like 30% each as far as the breakdown is for revenue. So I find that many of my people who come into the group coaching program eventually become private coaching clients. And many of my private coaching clients, once they feel like they've got what they needed, they go into the group coaching program because they still want access to me or they still want access to my content.
That's awesome. So like they feed each other back
They
and
totally
forth.
feed each other. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And what are you doing for outreach? Like, what's your marketing? By the
My
way, I think you and I should have a full conversation just on the difference between marketing and sales. I think it would be
Okay.
fascinating. So,
I
but yeah,
love that.
how do you drive people into that side of the business?
The majority of my leads that are coming into my business and marketing effort is spent from podcast guesting. So this is something that, I think I can't actually remember, but I think the very first podcast I ever got or asked to guest on was maybe back in 2016. And by 2017, it was a pretty regular ask from people of like, hey, will you come on my podcast? And at the end of 2017, when I started looking at the numbers and like where were people coming, like the business, like where did this person hear about me? Like how did we get connected? This client, that client. It was such a huge, overwhelming podcasting was the thing. And I've spent money doing all kinds of marketing. I've done ads, I've done, YouTube channel stuff, optimization, SEO stuff. But realistically, still to this day, podcast guesting is the number one source of leads that come into the business is people hear me on other people's podcasts, and then they either come listen to my podcast or they get onto my email list, and I sell to my email list regularly. So there's offers that are put out for people to have an opportunity to kind of take that next step with me.
Yeah, I love that so much. That's great. Yeah, I think that podcast guesting is like one of the most underutilized ways to get your voice out there,
Mhm.
because it's such a, I mean, some podcasts are, better for reaching your people than others, but like it's such a low lift in terms of like someone else is doing all the production work, to like produce that episode, but that episode lives for a long time, and so it's such a great tool. So I love that. Fantastic.
Yeah, me too. Evergreen, there's just no better marketing than podcast guesting, I don't think.
Yeah, and it compounds over time, right? I'm sure
Yes.
like you probably have people that are like, you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot I even did that episode. Like, and it was years ago. And yet, if someone decides to binge a podcast later or whatever, then they're gonna hear what you have to say. Okay, so so one more question in terms of your program. What do you feel like is like the most commonly misunderstood aspect of selling? What is the piece that people miss that makes it so scary for them?
Well, the thing I think that makes people really kind of shy away from sales, and this is the most misunderstood piece, is that people are programmed or they are led to believe that selling is something that you do to a person. And I teach that selling actually is something you do with. Because think about, do you want things done to you? Like that feels a little manipulative and gross. And so anybody that's out there that's saying things like, it's your job to convince people to buy from you is absolutely wrong. And most of us don't want people trying to convince us to do things. That feels like pressure, and that doesn't feel good. So I teach that sales is something, it's a conversation, and three things need to exist in order to sell to somebody. First is they need to have a need. They need to understand that they have a need for what it is that you will offer. The second thing is you need to know that you actually have a solution that can meet that need. And then the third thing, and this really is the most important, is you have permission to put your offer in front of them. And if you are just going out and selling without having permission, then you're basically doing the shotgun approach to sales. Like, I'm just going to try to spray as many people as possible and see if I get anything back. That is a huge waste of time. It also gets into your head about mindset of like, I guess not, hardly anybody wants to buy from me. It's like, well, people who don't have a need don't want to buy from you. And people who you don't have permission to sell to are frankly a little offended by your aggressive messages of like, hey, Nikki, I was looking at your Instagram feed and you're not optimizing it properly. It's like, well, first of all, I didn't ask you for your feedback about my Instagram feed. And who are you? Like, why do I care what you think? And that's the thing about sales that I think most people just really misunderstand
Mm,
is that you need to have permission, because when you have permission, then people are open to hearing your offer, and then it gets so much easier, not just for you, but for the buyer, and it feels better.
yeah, I love that so much. Yeah, I've had a number of salespeople on my podcast, and I've never heard anyone bring up permission, but it
Mhm.
is totally true. It's absolutely true. And it's really, and I'm glad you bring it up, because I think I've almost like I'm really intentional with my communication with people, and so like I think I almost like subconsciously have like asked for permission. Like I'll say like,
Mhm.
someone is I'm having like a discovery call, and someone will be like, sharing some issues, and I'll say like, are you open to hearing some ideas for like how
Yes.
that problem can be solved?
Yes.
And they're like, yeah, sure, and like, and so I'm really glad you said that, because now I can like consciously like not just make that like an intuitive thing, but like I can be like, okay, that's actually like a really important part of the process.
It is an important process because
So
I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in a conversation with somebody and they start like, well, you know what you should do? You should do this and you should do that. I have a friend who used to always say, Nikki, don't should on me and I won't should on you. Like, don't should on people. Like, they don't need it. And if you ask permission, then it doesn't feel like you're shoulding all over somebody. It sounds like I'm cursing, but I'm really not. But the idea here is that when you have permission, then people are more receptive and they can actually take in what you're saying and decide how they feel about it.
mhm.
And then the other thing that I teach is that you issue invitations. You know, The thing about asking for the sale is you do it in the form of an invitation. Because the thing about an invitation, most people like to be invited to things, even if they don't want to go, by the way. Like if you knew that your neighbor was having a holiday party and everybody in the neighborhood got an invite but you would feel a little left out, right? But maybe if you got invited, then you could decide, do you want to go or not? And even if you don't want to go, it still feels respectful that they sent you the invitation so you could decide for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about selling is when you issue invitations, you're showing respect to the other person that of course they get to decide for themselves.
I love it. I love it. This is like some serious I mean it's just good quality communication, but it's like it's some ninja wizardry for sure when it comes to sales. So fantastic. Okay, so and what we've got at the time of this recording, we're right around the corner from the new year. What are you really pushing into for 2026? What's a big focus for you in Sales Maven?
Well, one of the big focuses is right now I'm developing a product. It's actually one of my key trainings that really move the needle for people, but I'm finding that they might go through it, they get the concept, but they're struggling to actually like have a finished product at the end. And so I'm taking that training and I'm developing an AI tool that's very like Nikki focused and my type of relationship selling and the way you frame questions and ask questions and bringing this AI component in it so that at the end, they actually have what will be their consultation map. Because one of the places most people fall down is they get on these consultation calls or these discovery calls with people. They don't ask the right questions. Because they don't ask the right questions, they don't have the information they need to actually put a legitimate offer back in front of somebody that is going to be an easy yes for this person because it's going to be such a great fit to what it is that they need. So that's a piece that I'm really excited about and developing. And it's been in the works now for a couple months, but it's worth it, I think, to spend the time and the money because I'm really excited for my clients to now have their own consultation map that's tailored to them and their business without them having to do it themselves.
So good. I love that so much. Well, I love that you're integrating AI as well, right? And leveraging that as a tool. And I mean, you strike me as someone who's always learning, and like you mentioned, like you believe in investing in yourself. Is there something currently that you're investing in yourself that like you're trying to learn, or a mentor that you're working with in a specific way to accomplish a specific goal at the moment?
Well, one is this company that's helping me with the AI product because that's a huge learning curve of things where, like how do you actually, everybody says it's like garbage in, garbage out. So how do you actually put quality information in so that it can come back with quality answers? So that has been a huge learning. I'm just about to embark on a website redo that will be, I think I forget how they say it, but it's like AIO friendly instead of just SEO friendly. So that's like another piece that's coming in 2026. And then I've got a few other things on the kind of in the thing of like what I'll do next. But yeah, those are the two main ones right now.
I love it. Fantastic. This is so great. I am a firm believer in investing in yourself and never stopping. It's just a new level of investment. And I found as well, like as I've grown in my journey, that the investing in myself when I was newer was like more broad. And like the more experience I get, the more niched down and specific that it's like I am hiring a coach for this one
Hmm.
small thing,
Yeah.
or I'm hiring a company to do this one small thing. But like you mentioned, it's the thing that's going to move the needle for you, and it's what's necessary at the time. Fantastic. Seriously, there are like so many veins that we could like go down and have way deeper conversations. So we're definitely going to have you back. But Nikki, it has been seriously such a pleasure to have you, and love. I just want to say, like, you have such a like uh assuring presence about you. And I think
Thank
that
you.
the people that are in your programs are very lucky.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you on the Marketing Matrix today. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to have gotten this time with you and had this conversation with you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so for people that want to get in touch with you, the Sales Maven, find your books, like where do people go? We didn't
Well,
even
I'll
talk
wrap
about
it.
your books. We got to talk about those next time too.
That's okay. I'll wrap it around a gift. I cannot stress the importance of the questions that you ask in your conversations, in your sales conversations. Questions are more impactful than anything you can ever say. And so I have a training that is about helping you figure out what are your right fit questions, what are your expertise questions. It's called Seal the Deal, and I'd love to gift it to anybody who's interested in getting better at their questions. This is normally something I sell, but I'm willing to gift it to your audience. So you can go to yoursalesmaven.com/matrix. So this is for your audience. I'd love to gift that to you. And then we'll be connected. You'll be on the website. My books are there. Check out the podcast. Obviously, podcasts are interesting to you. So check out Sales Maven.
I love it. Okay, guys, I'm going to put the links to that website. First of all, thank you so much for creating a specific link for our community. That really is amazing. And so, guys, you can go ahead and get access to that. And yeah, I'm just so excited to know you and have you be a part of my network. So again, Nikki, thank you so much for coming onto the show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, wherever you're at, whether you're in your kitchen, your car, or Costco, listening to us today, your time is valuable. And so for you to choose to spend some time with us means the absolute world. So thank you so much. And until next time on the Marketing Matrix.